Quick disclaimer, we are not investigative journalists. We simply read, watch, and listen to whatever we can to satisfy our curiosity while use this information to form our own personal opinions. Do not take this as investigative journalism. This is simply our own rabbit holes. Hey guys, and welcome to the Crime Cave, where we go down rabbit holes from documentaries, docuseries, and other true crime podcasts. Hey guys, welcome to the Crime Cave. I'm Rachel, and this is Victoria.
Hey.
So, how was your week? Anything crazy? Anything exciting?
Same old, same old. But did you see the TikTok video about Shane Zachary?
Oh my God, yeah. The 23-year-old sperm donor that kicked his 18-month-old son in the face and killed him. Oh, yeah.
That's just disgusting.
So terrible. I can't believe it. He was charged with child abuse resulting in death and is being held on a $100,000 bail. Why the hell is he allowed to have bail?
I personally never understood bail, but I just hope he pleads guilty since he's already admitted to the baby mama that he did it and he just goes to prison.
Now, I understand bail for some, but like he pled guilty. He told his baby mama he did it. So why does he get bail? Oh, I don't understand. Anyways, in lighter news, my mom got a puppy and her name is Sadie. She's a golden retriever and she's actually really freaking adorable. Like if they made miniature golden retrievers, I'd want one.
All the puppy cuddles and puppy breath.
Oh my God,
Love
she's
it.
so freaking cute. I've got to post pictures. But let's get into it today. We're going to go ahead and review the documentary from Discovery Plus, Unraveled the Long Island Serial Killer. If you're unfamiliar with this case, the investigation starts in May of 2010 when an escort goes missing in a prominent beach neighborhood in Suffolk County, New York. In the course of the initial investigation, they find 10 additional bodies. Some have been out there for more than 10 years.
Yes, as many rabbit holes as this topic has sent us on, we really recommend checking out any resource you can for hours upon days of information.
Yes, and she's not joking when she says days. So don't worry, we will come back with another episode with a little bit more detail. But today we're just going to review the documentary. So Unraveled is not the same information that you typically get when you look into this case. It is definitely different.
For sure. This is more like a behind the scenes look at the Suffolk County Department and like how they handled things.
Or lack of investigation, depending on your opinions. The documentary has three hosts. It's Alexis Linkletter, Billy Jensen, and Rob Trotta. Alexis and Billy are investigative journalists and have a podcast regarding other cases. Rob Trotta is currently the Suffolk County legislator representing the 13th legislative district. And prior to that, he was a detective. It's amazing to me that someone in his position was willing to participate vocally in this investigation. And I appreciate that he continues to be invested in fixing the issues of Suffolk County, New York. Victoria, do you realize he's still a legislator? Like he's still active?
I didn't until I was researching, and I think it's really cool that he did this, like also what he did and does for that community. He seems like a really cool dude.
Yes, I completely agree with that statement. He definitely seems like an up and up guy. So this documentary starts out with a recording from a man named Christopher Loeb. And I just want to say, I love when documentaries have like media in any media, like it doesn't matter what kind, that they have recordings pertaining to their topic. But anyways, Christopher Loeb is a longtime friend of Alexis and calls upon her after years of not talking to reach out for help. Regardless of what he needs help with, I think that he was very smart in reaching out to Alexis. He knew that she wasn't going to be able to just sit back and say nothing. Chris's involvement in the Long Island serial killer is not directly related to the bodies found in Long Island, but he is one that brings light the scandal inside the Suffolk County Police Department and opens their eyes to possible problems within the investigation. So with that being said, Victoria, you want to go ahead and tell a little bit about Chris's story?
Yes, I do. Chris was a low-level criminal with a drug problem back in 2012 when he broke into James Burke's SUV. James Burke was the chief of police in Suffolk County at the time. Chris stole a gun belt, handcuffs, ammunition, and a duffel bag that contained, among other things, sex toys and DVDs that were later found to be pornography. Chris stated that when he returned home, he put on and watched one of those DVDs. Supposedly, he only watched 2 minutes of this DVD before turning it off. I don't believe that.
Yeah, me neither. I think I would have been so shocked that I would have watched more out of being shocked. But that's just me.
Chris stated that this DVD was a snuff film. And if you do not know what a snuff film is, it's one of the most disgusting things on the planet. By definition, like in the dictionary, it is a pornographic movie of an actual murder.
I'm still surprised it's in the dictionary. I would think you'd have to go to like Urban Dictionary to see that.
That's what I thought I was going to have to do, but I did not. So Chris was then arrested by police for breaking into the SUV. When Chris was arrested, he was taken into a room with no cameras, and in his statement, he says he was handcuffed and like his ankles were to the floor. So the hands were chained to the floor and his ankles are chained to the floor. Personally, I'm a little meh on that one because I don't think most normal holding cells or interrogation rooms or whatever you want to call it have that ability to like chain you to the floor.
Yeah, like I know we talked about it before, and I was kind of thinking about it. So he presents it in the documentary, like he acts it out, and he's standing like in a squat with his hands down to the ground. Why would they ever have that in a holding cell unless like you were a danger to yourself or someone else? But even then, why didn't they just like if that was the case of why they have it like that, like do a jacket, like a restraining jacket?
So I know they have the ability to like handcuff to the table for
Yeah.
safety purposes. So maybe that's more of what he was going at, but I don't know. I was not there.
And he says he was
But
sitting like that for 10 hours. Can you imagine in a squatting position for 10 hours? I think I just would have fallen down and let my wrist break if it was me, but I'm also a fatty McFatty pants.
same. So while Chris was in this room, Burke and other officers came in to interrogate him. And Chris called Burke a pervert. Fairly so, if that is in fact what was on that DVD. After being called a pervert by Chris, Burke punched, kicked, choked, and threatened Chris. And his words were to kill him with a heroin overdose. Chris did plead guilty to breaking into the SUV in 2014 and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. And to me, this isn't one of those, oh, you messed with the cops, so the cops are going to be a little bit more rough with you. This is like full blown, I'm trying to cover something up and hide something because you saw something you weren't supposed to see. And I think it's just Burke showing his true colors right there. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah, Burke used his power to try and silence Chris. Luckily, Chris was not going to be silenced when it came to the unfair treatment he received while in holding in Suffolk County. In December of 2015, Chris actually files a civil rights violation lawsuit, laying out all of his claims. This in turn results in the FBI investigating Burke, as well as Thomas Spoda. Tom Spoda was the former Suffolk County District Attorney. So they're both being investigated. In 2015, Burke steps down. And I mean, really didn't have a choice. In 2016, he would begin a 46-month sentence in connection to the guilty plea that he made. And he was released from prison in April of 2019. He supposedly still lives in the same house that Chris had broken into. Not the house, but where the car was. In 2019, Tom Spoda and his chief investigator were later convicted in witness tampering, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy after they pressured witnesses not to cooperate with the FBI investigation into the 2012 assault. That 2012 assault, again, is on Christopher Loeb, and they will actually be receiving their sentencing on August 10th of this year, so in just a couple of weeks. I'm sure the pandemic is to blame with why it's taking the sentencing so long. That is a really long time to be from like conviction to sentencing. I mean, that's a long time. Alexis, Billy, and Rob begin to dive into the suspicion that James Burke's abusive behavior went beyond just Chris Loeb's questioning, and they begin to question Burke's investigation into the Long Island serial killer case. To this day, the case is still unsolved. Alexis and Billy both present areas where the Suffolk County Police Department caused the investigation to have no persons in custody in 11 years since the start of the discovery of the bodies. Victoria, do you think the documentary reveals anything new in connection to the suspicion, or is the documentary helping to bring new evidence to light?
So I think they did the best they possibly could with what evidence and information is available to the public, as they went like the extra mile. They did some extra digging, and they questioned a lot of people and talked to a lot of people. And they did attempt to get and give more information so people could know more about what's going on in this case, know more about like what happened behind the scenes. So, and it just really showed, unfortunately, that law enforcement did fail to do the best they really could to find out who was behind this and give these families more closure to what happened to their loved ones. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I also have some concerns, though. The people already have a terrible representation of police, and this just gives them further reasoning to not trust or disrespect the ones who are trying to do the right thing. I think that's why I'm so impressed with Rob Trotta. He's making sure that he is speaking loud and clear that this is not something he agrees with, and he is standing up. This brief review of the documentary, I want us to kind of give our listeners our thoughts. What are some things that you wish would have been further discussed or investigated, or do you feel like they've hit everything and that you can confidently say that until James Burke says something in response to their plea for conversation, that this is where we're all going to sit unless the new DA or chief of police release more information?
I think we're just going to kind of sit. We're just stuck with what we have right now. And until they do release more, there's not going to be anything. And I wish Burke would respond. They can't be the only people out there trying to get a statement directly from him. So I wish he would respond and say, you know, here's what my thoughts or what happened, whether it's the truth or it's a lie, whatever it is, that it's just out there. Because until he speaks, I feel like we're kind of at a standstill.
I agree. Yeah. I think they did a lot of footwork in Long Island, like actually on the ground, and they tried to get all persons involved a chance to discuss their choices made during the case. I hope with their request for James Burke to speak with them, it does eventually happen. I think that the conversation they had with Burke's attorney speaks volumes about the type of people Burke surrounded himself with, and presenting that to the world will hopefully open up the conversation to other corruption and other cases. I mean, who would want to be the person that has to take that call to discuss their actions years later, especially in a case so well known and still unsolved? But alrighty, well, if you would like to watch this documentary, it is on Discovery Plus, and they have a podcast that correlates, and it actually gives you a little bit more information because they can only fit so much on a TV show. So check it out and let us know what you think, and we'll have a discussion on our social media platforms. Alrighty, Victoria. With that being said, how many cigarettes are we rating this gem? And just a reminder, we do rate our shows on a scale of 1 to 20. 20 being holy fucking shit, what is going on? This is nuts. And 1 being on board, and I really should just shut this off.
This was for sure top tier for me. Between all the information and how great they did, this is really a solid like 17 for me. There was several points where I had to pause to process like what they had just said and be like, whoa, wait, what the fuck is going on? And then also rewinding it, because it's like, there's no way in hell I heard that right. Like, no, I misheard that. What about you?
All right. The fact that you're still calling it rewinding with streaming TV, I thought that was a VHS thing. Like, how are you rewinding streaming? But anyways, yes, this is for sure a solid 17. I have questions. I had so many questions about the Long Island serial killer that I never even thought of because this case opened up so many what ifs and possibilities. So great job, Alexis, Billy, and Rob. I watched this so many times. I feel like we're friends and I should be able to talk to you on a first name basis. I think they should be included on further investigations. I think they've shown how well they do in the investigation. And I hope they are able to find more answers. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining us. And please be sure to follow for new episodes and find us on social media platforms under the name Crime and Chill. We'll talk with you soon.
you for tuning into this week's episode of Crime and Chill. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok for episode updates.